If you thought this NFL offseason was crazy already, this one puts it over the top. Per Adam Schefter, the Buffalo Bills are trading Stefon Diggs to the Houston Texans. And Adam Schefter had it completely covered over on Twitter. The trade itself is pretty cut and dry. The Buffalo Bills are going to receive a second-round pick from the Houston Texans in next year's draft. And the Houston Texans are getting Stefon Diggs, a 6th-round pick this year and a 5th-round pick next year. But from a fantasy standpoint, what does this mean? Well, I'll tell you right now, this absolutely torches the value of all of the Houston wide receivers. Now, listen, this offense is going to be absolutely insane, and we're going to want a piece of it. CJ Stroud is now locked in as a top 5 quarterback, and quite honestly could find himself inside the top 3. Joe Mixon running in probably his best offense ever, and yeah, I'm saying that when he played with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and the Cincinnati Bengals. This offense may be even better than that. He's going to have plenty of room to run, and he's going to have a great opportunity to be highly efficient this season. Now, he hasn't been as efficient as we would like over the last couple of years, but we've seen it. We've seen it happen before, and if he can get back to that, and this offensive line can hold up this season, he's absolutely going to be in for a top 12 potential year. I mean, you're going to have to cover Nico Collins, Stefon Diggs, Tank Dell, and Dalton Schultz. How many people are you realistically going to have in the box to stop Joe Mixon? But as far as the wide receivers go, this is going to be a headache. If you're wanting to invest in any of these guys, you are going to have a really tough time trying to figure out who's going to be the best one in any given week. Quite honestly, when I look at the wide receivers for the Houston Texans right now, I'm looking at 3 guys that are best ball candidates, not yearly redraft guys. I would anticipate the volume guy being Stefon Diggs. If I had to put my money on one of those receivers being the best to own this season, it would absolutely be Stefon Diggs. But we know for certain that Nico Collins is going to have his blow-up games, and he's going to have one-on-one coverage on the outside almost every single play. He is going to destroy some defenses, and he's going to put together some huge games. But those games are going to come with spurts of inefficiency in between. And as far as Tank Dell goes, it's going to be really tough to try and read this guy. We know last year when he was fully healthy that he was a little bit more of a volume guy than what Nico Collins was. But with Stefon Diggs in town now, that volume is not going to be there for him. So he's going to have to be big play dependent. But how is he going to be utilized? Is he going to be moved around the formation? Is he going to be in the slot? How much actual volume can he get all together for the season? That's why this offense is going to be really, really tough to predict. Running back, quarterback, I'm all in on. Any of the 3 wide receivers, and let's include Dalton Schultz in that mix as well, is going to be really, really, really tough to figure out. If I had to put my money on just one person, it would be Stefon Diggs. If I had to have a backup option, I would go Nico Collins after that. Because on the outside, Nico Collins, with that one-on-one coverage, is going to dominate people. All right, but let's talk about what this does to the Buffalo Bills, because now the Bills, they look to be in awful, awful shape. I mean, personally, I'm not touching Josh Allen right now. Yeah, he's still going to present you some upside with his ability to run the football and score touchdowns on the ground. But if you look at his weapons right now, they aren't looking great. Because right now you have Khalil Shakir and Curtis Samuel as your main 2 options. And you'll have Dalton Kincaid and you'll have Dawson Knox still. And you still have James Cook as well. But you've lost Stefon Diggs. You've lost Gabe Davis. This offense is going to look completely different heading into 2024. I don't know if I'm super into trying to draft Josh Allen at what his given price point will be for a quarterback. Now, I will say as well, Dalton Kincaid should take a step forward. So in terms of volume, he's going to be a tight end that could land himself pretty easily inside the top 12. Dawson Knox is going to be a sneaky one as well. Maybe not a guy that's going to give us a ton of potential in any type of a redraft league, but in best ball as a late round tight end option, he could score enough touchdowns to give us the value that we would need in that type of a format. And for the wide receivers, Khalil Shakir and Curtis Samuel, you can take a late round stab at both of these guys, but I don't know if I'm on board with either of them becoming like a true fantasy asset that gives you consistent performances. Khalil Shakir, I like, but I like him a lot better when he's not potentially one of the main focuses of the offense. The Bills are most definitely going to be drafting a wide receiver now, and that will likely change some of my thought process here when it comes to what this offense could do. If I had to gamble on one guy, I would probably gamble on Khalil Shakir in a PPR type format, and hopefully he brings you the type of production like a Cole Beasley did when he was in Buffalo. Headliner Nation, this move right here is sending fantasy waves through multiple players. This is a big time trade that not only affects Stefon Diggs, but lots and lots of potential fantasy targets around both of them. So make sure that you keep an eye here on the fantasy headliners, because as we progress through the draft and the rest of the offseason, these are two teams that we're absolutely going to be keeping an eye on. And these thoughts right here are just my initial reactions. We'll be jumping into all of this over the coming weeks, and we'll make sure that we get you set before drafts even show up. And if you're in dynasty leagues, make sure you keep tuned in right here, because we're going to have some big time announcements coming up on how you can get a head up on your dynasty leagues. Make sure you hit that like button for me. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell notification, so anytime news like this happens in the NFL, you're going to have our noties on, and when we drop our reaction to the breaking news, you'll hear about it right away. But for now, I'm going to get out of here. Headliner Nation, peace out, stay safe and healthy, and I'll catch you all in the next episode of the Fantasy Headliners.
Analytics off the chain, all the channels not the same. Jake and Kyle, you know the name. Headliner Nation, we running the game.